Everyone, I'd like to welcome you to our regular monthly board meeting and call it to order. Hope everyone's had a nice day and had a great holiday season, Christmas and New Year, and everybody's excited to be back in school and back to normal again. Once again, we're glad to see all the kids tonight, staff, and everyone, special guests, families. Always good to see you guys here. That's the reason makes this board meeting so special, because we recognize students, and that's what we're all about. And at this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Burgess, would you lead us in a short prayer, please?
No pressure. Father, we thank you for the opportunity that you give us here tonight. We pray that we'll do things that would please you. Thank you for the opportunity of a new calendar year, 2023. We just thank you for the many blessings you have given us, and pray that we do things to glorify you. In the name of Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. This time, would you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, our superintendent, Dr. Stephen Gaines, will share some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Just want to share some things that have happened during the past month. It's our last meeting. To begin with, I want to say a big thank you to our county commissioners, County Manager Hal Johnson, and County Finance Officer Will Massey and their staff for coming over today as we talk about our budget requests for next year for the local budget. These individuals always make time for our school system, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the last 9.5 years working with them, so I want to say a big thank you to them. Also, on the 13th of December, I had a chance to attend a winter band concert at Warrior Ridge, 612, and just want to say a big thank you to Angel Freeland, the band director, and her students for a great job at that concert. A couple days later, I got a chance on the 15th to attend the DARE graduation ceremony at Southmont, and I want to say thank you to the staff members and Sheriff Seabolt's staff for their great work to make that a great ceremony. That evening, on the 15th, I had a chance to go to Providence Grove High School to a cultural arts showcase, and saw students showcased in the areas of band, chorus, and art, and just I want to congratulate Kurt Phelps, the band and chorus teacher at Providence Grove High School, as well as Stephanie Soper, the art teacher at Providence Grove High School, for their efforts to make it a great event, and congratulate their students on just wonderful performances that night. On Saturday, December 17th, I want to say a big thank you to Wynn Ashworth, our county athletic director, for her work with the middle schools to have the middle school cheerleading competition at Wheatmore High School. Thank you to Eric Johnson for allowing us to use this facility, and I want to congratulate the cheerleaders and the coaches at Northeastern Randolph Middle School for winning the middle school cheerleading competition this year. On the 19th, I had a chance to attend the DARE graduation ceremony at Hopewell Elementary School, and again, great work by the staff members at the school and Sheriff Seabolt's staff to make that a wonderful ceremony for our kids. I want to take a moment and just, a lot of times people don't see what goes on in this school system, but we had some extremely cold temperatures right prior to the December 25 holiday, and it was great to get out of school and send our children home, send our staff home for the break. But for the days that led up to December 25, we had some very unusual cold temperatures, and we had a lot of staff members out doing stuff to keep us from having issues after the fact, like busted pipes and lost food in cafeterias. And just wanted to say a big thank you to Larry Chilton and his staff members in the facility maintenance department, Kelly Green and her staff members in the school nutrition department. They were out. And also to our custodians at school level, and to our principals. Didn't want to, but on December 20 or December 21, I guess was the first day we were out, sent a text to them and just called their attention to an email that Larry had sent out, and our principals responded, and their staff monitored what was going on with campuses, and it allowed us to open school last week without major problems. Because we were able to get out in front of these cold temperatures. So thank you to everybody involved. And sometimes our school system, we wind up, a lot of things you see out there, but there's a lot of things you don't see, people don't see, the public doesn't see, and we have wonderful staff members in these areas, so just thank you to all those individuals who spent part of their time out when we were out for the holidays, taking care of our buildings. I also want to say a big thank you to our board members. January is School Board Appreciation Month. I want to personally thank you for your guidance and advice during my time here. It's a pleasure to work with you, and I just appreciate, not only is it a pleasure to work with you, but it's a pleasure watching what you do for kids every day in this county and this school system. So thank you for all you do, board members, and it's only fitting that January is School Board Appreciation Month and we start off a new calendar year. And I want to, board members, if you would, I didn't say this in the work session, but you do have a schedule of events document that was attached to the work session document. So if you look at that, that has the remainder of the year events between now through June 30th. So, Mr. Chair, this concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Gainey. At this time, we're going to move on to the recognitions. Well, first I need approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the December 12th, 2022 minutes. Okay. And a second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now we'll move to the recognitions. And it's always what we look forward to. Kel Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Good evening to you, to all the board members, to Dr. Gainey and all of our guests. We'll begin our recognitions this evening by recognizing a presidential scholar nominee. Toby Kuna Zamora, a senior at Randolph Early College High School, has been selected by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction as one of North Carolina's nominees to apply for the United States Presidential Scholars Program in the general education category. 19 nominees were selected from a pool of candidates through an extensive committee review process, and as a result of his selection, Toby has been invited by DPI Presidential Scholars Nomination Committee to move forward in the next round of the Scholars Program. Toby and the other candidates will go through the application process at the national level, and the Commission on Presidential Scholars will notify the semifinalists in April. Scholar finalists will be announced in May. Scholars will be selected by the Commission on Presidential Scholars to receive the Presidential Scholars Medallion at a ceremony in Washington, D.C. So at this time, I'm going to ask Toby Kuna Zamora to please come forward to receive a Pride of RCSS certificate from our Board of Education, and anyone here in support of Toby is welcome to stand. Congratulations, Toby, on your nomination, and we wish you the absolute best in the Presidential Scholars Program. The North Carolina Association for Supervision and Curriculum Development, or NCASCD, has a prestigious Lighthouse School Award that is presented annually to one or more North Carolina schools that are leading the way in innovative programs and practices. For the 2022-2023 school year, the leadership team of the Randolph County School System has nominated Austell Elementary School for the Lighthouse School Award. Among those nominated, the school or schools selected for the Lighthouse Award will be awarded at the NCASCD 2023 Annual Conference in February in Pinehurst. So at this time, we want to recognize Austell Elementary School for this outstanding honor, and we have 3 representatives from the school who I'm going to ask to come forward to be recognized, and we will present the school with a Pride in RCSS certificate from our Board of Education. And as these 3 come forward, anyone else here in support of the school is welcome to stand. So first up, Principal Kim Bowie. And we will present the certificate to Mrs. Bowie.
I have that effect on me.
Also here from Austell Elementary School is Assistant Principal Dr. Lauren Ross.
They done threw me off. What did I ever do to you, lady?
And finally, lead teacher Lisa Garrison. Thank you and congratulations. All right, next up, Max Preps is a website that specializes in coverage of American high school sports. Many of you are probably familiar with Max Preps. Back in August, Max Preps compiled a list of the top 50 winningest active high school football coaches in America. And this evening, we're going to get to recognize a coach from right here in the Randolph County school system who is number 40 on that list. Burton Cates began his coaching career at Eastern Randolph High School in 1983, where he coached until 2008. He coached at Lee County High School from 2009 to 2017, and in 2018, returned to Eastern Randolph High School, where he continues to coach today. Including the recently completed 2022 season, Coach Cates' all-time record as a head coach is 355 and 129, and he won a state championship at Eastern Randolph High School in 2006. His team this year at Eastern Randolph finished the 2022 season with an 11-2 record and advanced to the fourth round of the state playoffs. As a result of his inclusion on Max Prep's list of winningest active high school football coaches in America, Coach Cates was honored by the Eastern Randolph High School Booster Club at halftime of their game on October the 28th. So at this time, Burton Cates, would you please come forward to be recognized as Max Prep's 40th winningest active high school football coach in America.
One of the best ones to play. Good memory as a family in old age.
Congratulations and well done.
Thank you.
Hey, Coach Cates,
Yes, sir.
when you were here several years ago, and we recognized you guys winning the state championship,
Yes, sir.
I know you, I'll never forget that board meeting, that's when it shared. There was a guy, we were building one of the new high schools, I think it was Sweetmore, and he was there to fuss about where the school was being built. He was totally against it, I'm sure you remember this. But those guys, football team, and you made such an impact on him, even though he hated the Board of Education and we were doing everything wrong, he called and wanted to help buy those, the rings for their spoiled boys. And I'll never forget that. I mean, that's such a positive impression on that guy.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay, it's now time to recognize our school system star employees for January. If you're not familiar with the Star Employee Award, it recognizes school employees who take responsibility, exhibit good character, and serve students on an ongoing basis. Each of our 32 schools awards 2 star employees each school year. Awards are presented to the employees at our monthly Board of Education meeting from September through February. And for the 5th year in a row, Vicki Gallimore of Remax Central Realty is serving as our sponsor for these awards, and we certainly do appreciate her support. She will purchase all of the plaques that we hand out this year. Star employees, as I call your name, please come forward to receive your plaque. And as the award recipient comes forward, anyone here in support of the star employee is welcome to stand. And employees, we're going to ask if you would please remain standing at the front, and we will have an opportunity to take group photos at the end. So we will begin from Franklinville Elementary School, Christy Moon. Christy Moon exemplifies what it means to be a great teacher. She makes sure all of her students have what they need to be successful and does it with a true sense of urgency. Her presence and ability to teach 3rd grade has held up at Franklinville year after year. She brings her expertise and her ability to teach and also show remarkable growth over the years. She has a unique way of making the best out of every situation. She knows what to say to lift your spirits, and you will always walk away with a smile after being with her. Mrs. Moon has been a great source of strength for her team, new teachers, the staff, and the Franklinville community as a whole. Franklinville Elementary School is honored to have Christy Moon as our star employee for January. From Grace Chapel Elementary School, Deborah Samuels. Teacher Assistant Deborah Samuels exemplifies Grace Chapel Elementary School's slogan that we're all in this together. She can be seen on a daily basis moving quickly and efficiently around campus, doing whatever needs to be done. She always goes above and beyond to help in any way possible. She not only works well with staff, but also with students. She is caring, compassionate, and patient when addressing students' needs. Mrs. Samuels always has a smile on her face and is always willing to lend a helping hand. Grace Chapel Elementary School is proud of Deborah Samuels and all she does for the school, and we are honored to recognize her as our star employee for January. From Level Cross Elementary School, Lisa Young. Lisa Young has been at Level Cross Elementary School since it opened. She taught first grade for many years, sometimes teaching the children of former students. She is a staunch advocate for students, especially those who struggle academically. This year she took on a new challenge as our multi-tiered system of supports coordinator and interventionist. She now assists all Level Cross teachers in planning interventions for students. She is always willing to lend a helping hand and does whatever it takes to support student learning. She coordinates our teacher assistants in providing just right lessons for students at multiple levels. She goes above and beyond this role, and her passion is easy to see. Level Cross Elementary School is proud to recognize Lisa Young as our star employee for January. From Liberty Elementary School, Sherry Johnson. Sherry Johnson is a key part of Liberty Elementary School's success. As head custodian, she keeps the campus clean and safe for students and employees. In addition to serving as the leader of the custodial department, Mrs. Johnson substitutes regularly on buses to make sure students have dependable transportation to school. When others have had to be away due to illnesses, Mrs. Johnson has stepped up for additional responsibilities to help colleagues. She is a jack of all trades on our school campus and brings joy and spirit, as well as an abundance of patience to our work. Congratulations, Sherry Johnson, Liberty Elementary School star employee. From Northeastern Randolph Middle School, Ashley Cox. Ashley Cox is new to our school and has hit the ground running this year. She developed a plan to maximize intervention time with the greatest number of students across all grade levels. She works with students in reading and math and collects data to share with content teachers. She has been a tremendous asset to our students to support them and help each one grow and move forward. Mrs. Cox leads all of our intervention programs, including our Watchman meetings and multi-tiered systems of support. She has jumped in with all school activities and become a great member of our team. We are proud to have Mrs. Cox help move our school forward and excited to see the growth in our students this year. Congratulations to Ashley Cox, Northeastern Randolph Middle School star employee for January. From Providence Grove High School, Donna Brown. Lead teacher Donna Brown is an incredible support to teachers at Providence Grove High School. She oversees testing and multi-tiered systems of support and provides teachers with strategies and tools to assist students and help them meet their academic needs. Mrs. Brown's attention to detail and connected response to our school needs cannot be overlooked. In addition, her driven approach to incorporating new initiatives is a definite strength. We are grateful for all that Donna Brown does for Providence Grove High School, and we are honored to have her as our star employee for January. From Ransom Elementary School, Annette Kidd. Annette Net Kid demonstrates many attributes of a stellar employee. She is dedicated to the staff and students at Ransom Elementary School and can be found working diligently in the cafeteria as the assistant manager. Mrs. Kidd is dependable, punctual, and always looking ahead to make the next day an easier one. She loves the students at Ransom and shows this through her positive attitude and happy demeanor. We are excited to recognize Ms. Kidd for this award and appreciation for all her hard work and dedication in making Ransom a great place to work and learn. Ransom Elementary School is proud to recognize Net Kidd as our star employee for January. From Randolph Elementary School, Caroline Nobles. Engaging, knowledgeable, compassionate, thoughtful, collaborative, advocate. These are just a few of the words that describe Caroline Nobles as our English as a second language teacher. A true advocate for all students, she works tirelessly and creatively to bridge the gap for her students and provide them what they need each day. Watching Ms. Nobles and her element is truly an unmatched experience. She navigates the classroom artfully with intentionality, ensuring that students receive exactly what they need. Outside of the classroom, Ms. Nobles is a great teammate who increases her colleagues' knowledge of strategies to use with English language learners through professional development and awareness activities. She raises awareness of the varied backgrounds, experiences, and cultures of our students and ensures that each one is celebrated and included. She is a trusted coworker who brings a smile with her to school daily. Randolph Elementary School is proud to name Caroline Nobles our star employee for January. From Randolph High School, Holland Gregg. Holland Gregg is a graduate of Randolph High School, and we are glad she returned as an English teacher and role model for our students. She epitomizes hard work, dedication, and professionalism, but most importantly, she cares about students. As our advancement via individual determination elected teacher, she guides a cohort of freshmen in learning skills to help them become stronger students and more college ready. Ms. Gregg's creativity is evident in this role as she plans opportunities such as Coffee with College Kids to inspire her students to look toward the future and do the work needed to set them up for current and post-secondary success. Her colleagues and students love Ms. Gregg, and Randolph High School is proud to have had her as a student and as a valued staff member. Randolph High School honors Holland Gregg as our star employee for January. And from Randolph Middle School, Lisa Andrioli. Media specialist Lisa Andrioli is an essential member of the Randolph Middle School team. She has created an inviting, engaging, and student-centered environment in this media center. Mrs. Andrioli has been working to update our book collection, and through her enthusiastic presentations has increased circulation. She is a great resource for staff and students and works hard to ensure they have the technology devices and tools needed to enhance their learning experiences. Even in the most challenging situations, Ms. Andrioli remains calm and caring, always focused on serving others. Students and staff alike know they can count on her for support and as a resource. No matter the task, she is willing to step in and help. Randolph Middle School is excited to select Lisa Andrioli as our star employee for January. So Ms. Fowler is going to come get the official group photo, and after she does that, anyone who wants to come forward and take photos is welcome to do so. Maybe 2 rows.
I'm trying to hide.
All right, congratulations, Caroline. All right. We're going to finish up our recognitions with our Star 3 students from January. The Star 3 program honors students who are respectful, responsible, and doing the right thing. The criteria for selection could include being a role model for others, making positive accomplishments inside and outside of school, good attendance, passing grades, good behavior, and nomination from a faculty member. And again, we want to extend our gratitude to our Star 3 sponsor, Wayne Thomas Chevrolet, who will purchase the 96 Star 3 plaques that we will hand out this school year. We're certainly grateful for Wayne Thomas's support. So now for the presentation of the Star 3 award students, as I call your name, you're going to do just like the adults did. Come forward and receive your plaque and remain at the front until all the other students have come forward. And as they come forward, parents or other family members or anyone else here in support of the student is welcome to stand, and you will have an opportunity to take photos at the end. From Franklinville Elementary School, first grader Nevaeh Perez. Nevaeh Perez is a genuine, kind, and caring student. She gives 100% effort in her classes and is always willing to collaborate with other classmates. Nevaeh is the first to lend a hand in the classroom, both of her teachers and her classmates. She is always positive, works hard, and continues to impress her teachers daily. Nevaeh is a role model and strives to soar at Franklinville Elementary as she is safe, shows ownership, is attentive, and is respectful. Franklinville Elementary School is proud to recognize Nevaeh Perez as our Star 3 student for January. From Grace Chapel Elementary School, fourth grader Kel Langley. Kel Langley is a true example of a Star 3 student. He goes above and beyond his schoolwork, and his character is exemplary. He encourages his classmates and always has a smile on his face. If someone is confused, Kel is the first one to want to jump in and help. If he thinks someone is left out at recess, he will invite the student to play with him. If Kel thinks someone is left out at lunch, he will sit with the student. Kel is always kind to his classmates in word and deed. He also works hard in the classroom and always gives 100%. When doing schoolwork, he is focused and constantly looks for ways to improve his work. Grace Chapel Elementary School is pleased to recognize Kel Langley as our Star 3 student for January. From Level Cross Elementary School, third grader Hunter Atkinson. Hunter Atkinson is a wonderful student and a friend to everyone he meets. He lights up any room he enters with his bright smile and positive attitude. Hunter gives his best effort and works hard to meet his goals. Despite challenges, he never gives up or makes excuses. Recently, Hunter was helping another student who was struggling with a math problem. Before he continued with his assignment, Hunter encouraged the other student by saying, "You got this." He is a true asset to our school and much deserving of this award. Level Cross Elementary School is honored to recognize Hunter Atkinson as our Star 3 student for January. Now, our next Star 3 student, I understand, is not able to be with us this evening, but I will go ahead and read the narrative for third grader Hannah Burton from Liberty Elementary School. Hannah Burton had been working very hard in third grade. She comes to school every day with a can-do attitude. Even when presented with challenges, Hannah tries her best and does not give up. She's always willing to lend a helping hand to her peers and teachers, shows kindness to everyone around her, and has proven herself to be a fantastic role model. Hannah is respectful and responsible and arrives at school daily with a big smile and an even bigger heart. Hannah Burton is certainly a star at Liberty Elementary School and deserves recognition as our Star 3 student for January. From Northeastern Randolph Middle School, 7th grader Caroline Wilson. Caroline Wilson has shown kindness and a caring spirit to her peers in all of her classes. Additionally, she goes above and beyond in the classroom and with the quality of her work and efforts daily. Everything she does and submits exceeds qualifications and expectations. Caroline is a terrific student and overall a genuinely kind person who strives for excellence in all aspects and at all times. It is an honor to have this student at our school and to be able to know and teach her. She is a role model for other students. Northeastern Randolph Middle School is proud to select Caroline Wilson as our Star 3 student for January. From Providence Grove High School, 12th grader Iris Allred. Iris Allred is a model student who always works with determination and focus. She quietly performs her complex French 4 task and verifies that her work is accurately completed. With grace and maturity beyond the normal, Iris focuses on doing her best and achieving success in her academic and artistic goals. She is respectful to her teachers and peers and is willing to help others if they need her. We are proud of Iris Allred and are excited to name her Providence Grove High School Star 3 student for January. From Ransom Elementary School, 5th grader Jonathan Gonzalez Garcia. Jonathan Gonzalez Garcia embodies all the characteristics of a Star 3 student. He continuously demonstrates a high level of dependability in everything he does. Jonathan completes his assignments on time and consistently puts forth his best effort. He is always ready to lend a helping hand in and out of the classroom and holds himself to high standards. Jonathan exhibits a growth mindset whenever he is at school, and his positive nature and ability to hold himself accountable is empowering to his peers. He encourages others to also be their best self in and out of the classroom. Ransom Elementary School is excited to recognize Jonathan Gonzalez Garcia as our Star 3 student for January. From Randolph Elementary School, 4th grader Trey Six. Trey Six is a great all-around student and person. He is kind, encouraging, hardworking, and a leader in everything he does. No matter what is said in front of him, Trey gives his very best and constantly pushes himself each and every day. He seeks opportunities to support other students, and he is trusted by staff and students alike to complete important tasks. Trey is an academic leader, while always finding ways to help his classmates and teachers. He consistently goes above and beyond each day to do his very best and to be a kind, inclusive friend. Trey's caring heart, work ethic, determination, and kindness make us proud to name him Randolph Elementary School Star 3 student for January. From Randolph High School, 12th grader Stephanie Diaz Ramos. Stephanie Diaz Ramos is a hardworking, dedicated young student. She is a key member of HOSA and an integral part of our yearbook staff and maintains a strong academic performance. At our school's Veterans Day Appreciation Ceremony this past November, Stephanie touched everyone's heart and helped the entire audience recognize the importance of honoring our veterans with her heartfelt speech. In addition to her success in the classroom and her leadership roles in organizations, Stephanie is an ambitious student who has created and runs her own baking business. She meets challenges with dedication and a strong work ethic. We know she will be successful beyond high school because of the perseverance, skills, and talents she has showcased at our school. Randolph High School is proud to recognize Stephanie Diaz Ramos as our Star 3 student for January. And our final Star 3 student, unfortunately, also is not able to be here this evening, but I will read the narrative for 7th grader Haley Bowman from Randolph Middle School. In her role as a media assistant, Haley Bowman is conscientious and willing to help in any capacity needed. Self-motivated, independent, and hardworking are some of the words staff use to describe Haley. She is a quick learner, and as a media assistant, she is capable of handling day-to-day activities in the media center, even in the media specialist's absence. Haley is also a valuable member and unofficial leader of our Battle of the Books team. She encourages her teammates and holds everyone accountable to read and reread the books. Academically, Haley achieves at high levels and is a classroom leader. She is an active member of Beta Club, where she volunteers for service projects and serves on various committees. Randolph Middle School is proud to select Haley Bowman as our Star 3 student for January. So Ms. Fallon's going to get the official photo, and when she's done, anyone's welcome to come forward and take pictures. Congratulations and well done. And that concludes our time of recognition for this evening.
I looked around the room and I got all my former principals. Except Miss Richard.
Okay, we have some people signed up for public comments tonight. You will have 3 minutes. It's a timer, we got to.
Is there practice in it? It's going.
It's going, okay. All right. Casey Burrow, you're up first. It's working?
Reset it.
That's right, it took you that long.
We gotta start fast.
Technical difficulties. We can run on the phone. Cut that out.
All right.
Just run it on the phone. Just run it on the phone. You got it? Sheena's got it.
I'm good.
Okay.
She's not.
All right.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to speak to you tonight about the Spanish Immersion program at Hopewell Elementary School, and specifically about two teachers there, Barbara Diaz and Francisco. As board members may know, the teachers typically come from their home country on a J1 cultural exchange visa. Many times, they're placed at Hopewell through partnership with a company called Participate. The terms of their contract and the visa stipulate that they must go back to their country after 5 years, after their 5-year contract is up. This means for the program that there will never be a Spanish immersion teacher with more than 5 years experience. So if you think about, if you staffed a whole school that way, where no teacher had been there for more than 5 years, I can't imagine anybody could argue that would be ideal. This is how the program is run. And I think we, as a community, think that we are doing students a disservice and at times the teachers by this strict 5-year limit on for Spanish immersion teachers. Some of the surrounding counties have also seen the value in hiring these teachers on a more permanent basis and have actively been doing this. And I believe this is a sign to our county that we should at least consider that option and what the advantages would be. Those counties include Buncombe County, Surrey, Chatham, and Guilford, among others that have hired teachers that left Hopewell. But the more immediate matter is the Diaz family. They came here 5 years ago from Venezuela. Their performance since they have been here, their reputation is well known as their level as educators. And they've become part of our community, and now Randolph County is their home, and they want to stay. But their contracts will be out, and their country, Venezuela, is in a state of socioeconomic turmoil. If you Google the situation in Venezuela, you will see corruption, starvation, all sorts of atrocities. The list goes on. As a result of this, the State Department has already granted Venezuelans temporary protected status, which means that at the end of their J1 visa, they will not be sent back to Venezuela. They can stay, basically. And this is currently approved, this is public information, until March 2024, protected status for Venezuelans. But then now they will be presented with a different problem in that they will be out of a job. Both parents in this family will be jobless at the end of the school year. And so I grew up here in this county. I don't know how much time I have. And when I think of Randolph County, I like to think of the type of people that help each other, that help their neighbors even when it's inconvenient because it's the right thing to do. So I think to some degree, the county I'm encouraging the county to step up for this family and make an exception to this and retain Senora Diaz and Senora Clyde, at least for the remaining school year. And yes, and then also would like to request a review and update on a longer term of the policies related to hiring Spanish immersion teachers. Thank you for your time. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, Jordan Burrow.
I'm very nervous about talking to other people, so. I'm Jordan Burrow. I want to speak about why my husband and I started the petition. We currently have 3 children in the Spanish immersion program, and we'll have a 4th in 2024. All 3 have had or currently have Senora Barbara Diaz. It's hard to put into words for me the value of her as a teacher. I can confidently account for the consistency, higher level of education, expectations of good behavior, and overall experience of watching our children thrive through having her as a teacher. We want the same result when our last child begins this program. Senora Diaz has and continues to make a difference in our children's lives and is an asset to this community. Although we have not experienced the child in Mr. Kapai's classroom yet, his reputation among their peers and other parents has been established. It is well known that kids look forward to having him as a teacher and excel in his classroom. That again speaks of his excellent teaching skills and the stability he brings to the program along with Ms. Diaz. Our county has one immersion program. We advertise it as being a higher level of education, and data supports this. But the main thing is it's not consistent right now. There's been a decline in the consistency with that, and it seems to all come back to teachers leaving. By choosing not to keep teachers past the 5 years, we take away stability for our kids. These teachers are choosing to come here, but we as a county are not taking into account that most of these teachers are coming from another country for the first time ever. This is our adjustment period. These teachers are having to adjust completely to a new culture on top of new standards, expectations, and rules within our school. During this adjustment period, kids are being left behind in the classroom. It has been a cycle for a while in this program. The class right now we have in this position is our 3rd grade immersion students. They have truly suffered through the current policies we have in place that guarantee teacher turnover. We need to stabilize our program by establishing experienced teachers through sponsorship rather than paying the hefty fees with Participate Yearly that we are. We understand that not every immersion teacher we hire will be retained. We as a Spanish immersion community want this for our children and the future of the program. By retaining these 2 teachers and revising the current policies in place, you are successfully securing not 1 but 2 positions, which could bring positive changes in creating a rock-solid program and encourage future growth in our Hopewell program. I ask you as our board to consider retaining Capai and Diaz at this time. And I ask y'all to put this on the agenda to talk about the policies and retaining them, please. Thank y'all for your time.
Okay, Erin Painter?
Hello, I'm Erin, and I'm here speaking on behalf of my husband and I. We currently have 3 kids in the Spanish program, soon to be 4. We moved here to put our kids in this program to help further their education. The stats shown to us before the oldest child, our Haley, who began this program, on how it allowed these students to exceed their peers in all subjects convinced us to start and take this leap to allow them to start this program. We knew starting this program would initially put them behind their peers, but by the end of the program, the stats showed they would well exceed them. I watched her go through this program with fantastic teachers, most of them who are no longer here because of their contracts being up. Seeing her excel due to the stable teachers she had in the program, which has allowed her to do amazing. She currently is in 5th grade under Capai. Now skipping forward 2 years later, we now have a 2nd child who has not had the best experience, nor our youngest daughter. Our 2nd child has experienced no teacher for years, and the school has scrambled to get them someone year after year. In her 3rd grade year, she has now had a brand new teacher trying to learn the culture and language and teach our child. The strain on our child's education without a teacher for years and one adjusting has not been a great experience for her nor us. We would love to see updated stats for this grade level against prior years. We feel the lack of focus on this program to help these teachers and students has been non-existent since Principal Barr has left. It is very upsetting for my husband and I'm sure I can speak on the behalf of other parents on this, but we did this program because we care about our kids' education, and we want them to experience and advance them in their education. Seeing what we have seen from my oldest to my middle and now my youngest has made us question our decision as parents. It has made us question if we now have hurt our youngest 2 girls' education instead of helping them advance. They are behind and struggling without any focus to help get any teachers in place or have the additional help to get them back on track. Due to obstacles we have faced, we know some about the control of the program like COVID, but not focusing to get the teachers back in these positions to help assist and keep the
keep sponsoring these teachers who have experience and are doing amazing jobs with these kids. I would like to see this as a top priority for this program. I hope to see changes because I know right now we are unsure of the decision for our 3-year-old who will soon be starting in a few years. Right now, we are not going to be putting him in this program in the current years unless we see some focus and some changes within the program. Thank you.
Thank you. Courtney Oakley.
Hey, my name is Courtney, and this is my husband Josh. We currently have 3 kids in the Spanish immersion program, 5th grade, 3rd grade, and kindergarten. 6 years ago, I was a mom trying to decide where I would send my first child to kindergarten. I had many friends, including teachers and even principals, with children in the Spanish immersion program at Hopewell. These parents had so many great things to say about the program, so that February, prior to my daughter starting school, my husband and I attended a meeting and a tour to learn about this amazing program. As I toured with the then principal and lead teacher, there was so much pride and joy about this program. We knew then that we wanted this for our children. My oldest now in the 5th grade has had an amazing experience. She has learned so much and excelled academically. She has loved being a part of this program. She would not have wanted her schooling to go any other way. But let's talk about my son, 93rd grader. Wow, his experiences have been so different. Could I say the same about the excitement, pride, and joy of the program? The answer is no. Yes, I know he was a COVID quote-unquote student, if that's how you want to word it. He was in kindergarten when COVID hit and the kids could no longer go in person. Well, if you don't know, these Spanish kids have to be in person and present to get in the language. He finished kindergarten on virtual learning, then 1st grade came. We had an awesome 1st grade teacher, but this program did not allow her to stay because her 5 years were up. We begged as parents to allow her to stay, but instead of sponsoring her, we let a good one leave. My son had to start 1st grade with an English teacher attempting her best to speak Spanish. From August to January, he had this teacher. Finally, in January, he received a Spanish teacher new to our country with only 2 days in classroom. He started 2nd grade with a sub, then he received a new teacher to the country. 3rd grade, he started with a new teacher to the country. Don't get me wrong, these teachers try their best, but being new to our country, new school, different culture comes with new challenges. There has been a lot of the inconsistency with this class, putting many of these students behind academically when statistics normally show Spanish immersion students excel more than a traditional English class. In trying to keep my son on grade level and in the Spanish immersion, my husband and I have paid tutoring weekly to a Spanish-speaking tutor for the past 3 years. We have been fortunate to be able to do this, but there are several children in this 3rd grade class that have not been able to have the same. This class needs stability in order to bring them back to the standards this program once held. With saying all this, retaining current, well-rounded, trained Spanish teachers that are currently at Hopewell, like Ms. Diaz and Mr. Capel, which 2 of my kids have, will help this program and these students back to the higher standards. I personally have 5 more years as a Spanish immersion parent in Hopewell, and 2 more years for my 3rd grader and 5 years for my kindergartner. And I would love nothing more than these seasoned teachers to stay to be a part of the continuing education. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I don't want to leave you guys just hanging out there. Normally when we have public comments, you know, we talk about it later. We don't get into an argument or whatever, or a big discussion like here. There's stuff questions we need to ask as a board. What I can tell you as a board, we do listen and we will talk about it. Now, I'm from the Austell Trinity area, and I was on here when Spanish immersion first came to Hopewell. And, my only question with Spanish immersion, I've had it in a long time, you know, I've witnessed what it done to Hopewell. I mean, you know, obviously it's something extra, and I've heard 98% good things about it, and especially the kids that go through there. And I wondered, well, why don't we have one at this part of the county, and I've often wondered, why don't we just have one at Hopewell? I don't know the answer to that. That's maybe a question I'll start asking. But on the other hand, I do know the company, and it's just questions I wanted to ask, you know, we're under contract with them, they send those people back, and I get it for those people. If I was living in America and liked my job and was happy, I wouldn't want to go back either, especially with turmoil, and I get it as parents. I mean, I get where you're coming from, that you want what's best, and, you know, but I think COVID, I mean, the COVID years, it didn't only affect the Spanish immersion children, it affected everybody, and I think it put us in a pretty big hole in all elementary kids. And but anyway, we will discuss it and ask questions, and I mean, I have questions I'm gonna ask, but I don't know the answer, you know, how we stand with that company. I do know one thing, that when we first started Spanish immersion, I remember, you know, at Hopewell, you had teachers, actually they were upset because the program, some of the teachers came, and it was displacing some teachers that had been at Hopewell because some lost their job, had to move on. But I also know that as a board in the school system, there really wasn't a plan for Spanish immersion, correct me if I'm wrong, after Hopewell. I mean, that was where it ended, and in the 5th grade. So, together, I know, AT tax may pick up some too, I may be wrong on that, but together, or working together and finding out a way, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, we still have Spanish classes at Wheatmore Middle and Trinity, am I wrong?
Wheatmore Middle and Wheatmore Trinity Middle have Spanish. And
Do those companies look after those two, or they don't? So do we handle that, or?
We do. The idea was to keep the interest in Spanish language alive, because I want to say it was my first year here when it was the first group of 5th graders. We were confronted with the middle school thing my first year, and there was not a plan for it to go to middle school. And so the idea, what the school system did, the school system made a plan to keep those students' interest in the Spanish language alive, to get them to high school.
I didn't know we didn't use that company in middle school, right? I mean, so, you know, ask questions, you learn things.
It was straight, we used NCVPS, one kind of virtual public school, and we used Spanish teachers, just like you might hire a Spanish teacher for a high school. In fact, Spanish has fallen out of middle schools, but right now the only 2 middle schools that have Spanish are Trinity Middle and Wheatmore Middle, and it's for that very issue to keep the immersion students moving through.
Are the companies we use at Hopewell, I think is there 1 or 2? I
We're
mean,
using 2 different.
2 different
We have
ones.
2 different ones. Some teachers.
Did we start out with those when it first, I mean, I'm not sure, I can't remember the company.
I imagine the first company originally was VIF, Business International Faculty, which later became Global. I would imagine that's where it started. That was before my
I found in Greensboro, maybe one, I can't remember. I remember when it all started though. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to tell you, that we'll ask questions and talk about it, and that's kind of how we handle things as a board. I mean, we can't just add it to an agenda. You can help me if I speak out of this, you know, you don't gain anything if you just come out and put something on it and just, you can't make a decision without getting
You've set the agenda for this.
You said it like early on, okay? That's where I'm going, it's already set. But I guess what I'm just trying to tell you, that we will talk about it, and we will, we're listening, okay? And we'll see.
One question, very quickly. Can I submit the rest of my speech in writing? Because it has a couple of options, and I didn't get to read about that subject. Can I just submit it email or something?
You can do that. But anyway, you want to email it to us?
Oh,
Would you do
email it
that?
to board members.
Email it to board members, that'll be fine. And we appreciate you guys having the passion and caring and coming out tonight. I know that takes a lot of guts to do that, and if you believe in something, then I don't blame you, you know? If you don't speak up for your kids and advocate, that's who's gonna do it, so
Exactly.
I applaud you for coming out. Thank you. Okay. At this time, I need a motion to adopt the meeting agenda.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, we move on to information items regarding the meeting.
Okay, board members have several gifts tonight. First gift is Austell Elementary School. Received an email from Kim Bowie on December 12th. It's a gift in the amount of $400 from the Carolina Mama Basketball Club. The use is unrestricted, so I accept this gift on the 13th on behalf of the school system. All of these, by the way, are information items since they're $5,000 or less per board policy 8220. The next gift received on December 16th from Kelly Harrell, principal of Level Cross Elementary School. It's a gift from Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church, in the amount of $500 to purchase school supplies for Level Cross Elementary. I accepted this gift on December 17th. The next gift was made aware on December 16th, Justin Pugh, New Market Elementary School. The gift came to the school with the amount of $500 from Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church to be used for any school needs, and I accepted this gift on December 17th. I may have forgotten that. The Level Cross gift from Mount Lebanon was the amount of $500 as well. The next gift, on the 11th of December, I was made aware of a gift by Angela Harris, principal of Ramsey Elementary, from Tower Components Incorporated, in the amount of $500 to be used for technology at school, and I accepted this gift on December 13th. The next gift was Randolph Elementary School. December 14th was when I was made aware of by Ashley Barr. The New Market Superintendents gave her school $250 to be used for the needs of students and their families during the holiday break. And this is Randolph Elementary, and I accepted this gift on behalf of the school system on December 14th. Next, we have a gift to Randolph Middle School that Melanie Ritchie made me aware of on December 16th from Mount Lebanon United Methodist Church, an amount of $500 to be used for the purchase of school supplies, and I accepted this gift on December 17th. And then the final gift was a gift to Tabernacle Elementary School. December 19th, Beth Davis, principal of the school, made me aware of a gift in the amount of $804 from the Share and Care Sunday School class at Poplar Ridge Friends Meeting. It was to be used for young paid school lunches, and I accepted this gift on December 19th. So board members, that concludes the 7 gifts that I'm reporting tonight as information items.
Thank you, Dr. Gaines. Hey, Todd?
Good evening, board members. Tonight we have 2 purchases that fall under the requirements of Board Policy 6420. Those are contracts in the amount of more than $50,000. The first one is Freeman Ford, and that's a maintenance truck purchase, $56,850. And then the second one is Penguin Random House, that is for middle school classroom library books, $79,335.26. These were just for your information tonight.
So is that replace an old maintenance truck or? Yes. Replace one?
Larry, was that the one that was totaled wrecked?
Oh, yeah, the one
Yeah,
that was in the wreck.
64.
Yep.
We'll shortly we'll have another one for you next week. We were able to secure 2.
For that price?
About the same
Second one's a
price.
little less.
How many books you get for $80,000?
Better be a bunch, huh?
Better replace the whole library. I mean, that's crazy. Like some brick and mortar. That's crazy.
Was that middle school across the district? They had to shake their head.
So the books will be distributed through all middle schools.
Yes.
That's a lot of money. I don't know if it's a lot of
Or there might be
money.
a
all new books.
I imagine they're just all new books. I don't know if they're replacing any or not. Sheena or Bell, no.
Classroom libraries for the schools, Kathy.
Like chapter book
Grades
things?
6, 7, and 8, correct?
Yes.
In all middle schools to do with like self-selected reading and different activities in classroom. So I don't know this necessarily to replace as much as supplement what's not there for that purpose.
All right, we'll move on to the quarterly budget update. All right, second quarter budget update. We'll be looking at the months of October, November, and December. Sometimes the updates are a little longer than this one, just depends on what all's happened during that 3-month window. But as far as tonight, we're going to look at a few of the programs. We'll look at state revenues and expenses, current expenses, just Fund 2 and Fund 8 together. We'll look at the federal budget and the school nutrition budget. We always take a look at our charter school enrollment, where it stands at this point, cash balances, and then any areas to watch moving forward. All right, so we'll start with the state funds. We'll just take a snapshot here. Allotments as of 12/31, the end of the second quarter, total $112,367,695. So that was an increase of $887,942 in the second quarter. So we had quite a few increases. I broke that down for you, well over $1 million, and I'll show you the decreases that netted to the $887,000. Exceptional children, we have several state programs for EC in the state budget. We had increases there, $378,193. In the work session, Dr. Gainey referred to the school safety grant for our SROs, our additional SROs, $176,000. School technology, $177,506. Literacy intervention, we're using a lot of this money for the stipends for the letters training. You've probably heard about that from time to time over this past year. $278,520. CTE money, $204,180. I believe that's mainly for student credentialing. And then principal bonuses, $24,760. Those were statewide performance bonuses. We've already paid those out. We paid those out back in October. All right. So now we'll look at, unfortunately, we'll look at some of the decreases. All right, so mainly what happens every year in the second quarter is called the charter school reduction. So just real quick, I'll explain that to you. Once again, going back to the work session, Dr. Gainey referenced the local money that's paid to charter schools. Also, we give up some of our state money, and it's for what they call the charter school growth. So basically, once they get all the reporting in from the charter schools, at some point in the second quarter of each year, they tie those students back to their home county, and then they hit 15 different state programs, and they reduce the state allotments, because basically DPI says we've given you the money for all the kids, and then once we find out how many additional kids you lost to charter schools, that's when we take back that piece of your state dollars. So I'll just real quickly go through the 15 state programs that have reductions. Classroom teachers, $154,687. Non-instructional support, $14,659. K-5 program enhancement teachers, $7,900. School psychologists, $1,298. CTE teacher, $17,000. The CTE program support, that's $1 allotment, $767,000. The DSS funding, disadvantaged student supplemental funding. Teacher assistants, $14,189. We lost $22,000 in low wealth funding. And then instructional support, $17,000. Our AIG money, $2,600. Transportation, $17,000. Instructional supplies, $1,400. Average students, $11,000. And then textbook/digital resources allotment, $1,516. So as you can tell, it's and it adds up. It's not a lot of money in any one program, but it does, it's like I said, it's 15, typically it's 15 state programs each year. The only other two reversions we had a reversion for summer reading camp money, $62,342. That was money that we did not spend in last summer's summer reading camp. The state takes that back. And then that school technology, $372. That was just an adjustment from DPI on a correction that they made on our previous allotment. Okay, so that was the revenue side of state funds. So we'll look at the expense side real quick. Second quarter expenses total $32,290,203. That's about 28% of the budget. And especially for the new board members, if you think about 25% is the benchmark. It doesn't always hold true. There's exceptions to that, but that's why I throw the percentages up there. And if they're way off, I'll explain why they're way off. 28.7% is about where we should be. Transportation within that expense, and we'll talk about transportation a little bit more, but state transportation expense was almost $2 million in the second quarter. That's a lot. The main program in exceptional children is 032, $3 million of expense there. At-risk student services, 069, that's where our SROs are paid, along with some other positions, $1,021,000. AIG budget, $239,000, and then the limited English proficiency LEP budget, $337,000. I do want to say, and if you've been on the board for any length of time, we always talk about transportation and NEC. That's two of our state programs that come up quite a bit throughout the year. The transportation year-to-date expense stands at just a little over $3 million. I believe I told you in the first quarter update that we would have our final allotment from DPI for state transportation. We get that in two parts, but we don't have it yet, which I guess has probably been the trend the last couple of years. They used to send that out in November, but it's been later the last couple of years. So hopefully we'll get it this month, and we'll talk about it when we get the third quarter update. But we'll see what that allotment looks like. That'll give us a little better picture. But I am a little concerned about our state transportation.
What did we budget? What did we budget for that?
Well, the budget for last year, I think it was a little over $5 million is what we received in state funding.
Yeah.
So, we have a local side of the transportation budget that's just a supplement to the state money. It's
not $1 million.
It's not $1 million. We'll see what that second allotment looks like. But we could have a pretty large deficit by year end. We've had that before. We talked about it. You've heard Dr. Gaines talk about it many times. The funding formula for transportation just
never works.
It doesn't work.
A couple of years ago, did we take something out of the general fund for transportation? When did we take something out of the general fund for?
We have. If by the end of the year, even with our local budget, that's the budget. If we're still coming up short, we'll budget fund balance by the end of the year to make up the difference.
I know we've seen the decrease in fuel prices that we have seen the last 2 weeks. They were going back up, and I know I looked at the forecast, what the feds and all were talking about. They're still looking at end of the year, just regular gasoline's gonna be $3.40, $3.50.
And sometimes when we see fuel increases, drastic fuel increases, sometimes we do get a little contingency money from the state. They'll pass along a little bit more money. It helps some, but it doesn't solve the problem completely by no means.
We seen the increase in fuel yet? We seen the increase in fuel this month?
I don't know about this month. Maybe not this month, but
it's coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You ain't got delivery yet.
Everything has gone up across the board. The maintenance and transportation related, it's unbelievable.
And I know Wendy and I had a discussion about a month or so ago, to where she was you know, even though the money's tight, but she was going ahead and she was buying parts here and there because she was afraid she wasn't going to be able to get them later. So she was stocking what she could, but she's very conscientious of our budget, but, you know, the buses have to roll one way or the other.
So in the work session, when we were talking about the one garage here per county, so as far as for other systems, how is that, I mean, is that something we build them, or is that, or how does that work out budget-wise?
Yeah, there's certain things that we build them for, but basically, we're also built into the allotment are things that we pay for those systems too.
They know how many.
But we don't, I mean, can the Randolph County school system lose money on other systems?
Well, yeah, okay, so here's what can happen.
It's kind of where I was wanting
Yeah.
to Nancy earlier. I was thinking, are we,
I think
is our mechanics?
the best answer I can give you on that is, if the other school system within inside the county is not running as efficiently as they need to run, then yes, it can cost us money also. I mean, they have an efficiency rating and we do too, but,
Do they have an incentive to run, I mean, with that, run efficiently or not?
well, yes, because they receive money, they receive an allotment for driver salaries.
Okay.
So, yes, maybe not as big of an incentive as we do.
Just a quick question for you there. How many of our school buses does all our buses have the DES system on?
No, there's probably still some out there. I can't give you an answer tonight.
No, I was just wondering, 'cause, you know, you're talking about buying extra parts, because I know the biggest thing is with the DES system is getting the parts to fix that.
I mean, there's buses been sitting, fairly new buses just sitting waiting on what used to be, very simple to get.
Oh, I mean, I just know that through the fire departments. I know one fire department got 2 brand new fire trucks and they've set until March waiting on parts.
We've got several buses in the fleet that we could still have some old. I have to get you that in.
So like, I keep trying to figure out, Fred, I've been figuring it out since this afternoon, so I'm gonna ask another couple of questions. I like to get the fair bang for our buck. Okay, so we have 2 school systems in our bus garage. And we handle, I guess, the fueling of that and like the mechanics, and all that work and all. So does that come out, do you guys handle that through the state money, or, so that's all taken and so I mean, we're definitely, they're not handling any of it, it comes through you basically, is that?
Right, yes. So we do bill them.
So like that extra employee that we may not have to have because we're taking care of their stuff, I mean, do they pay for, I guess I'm just wondering, you know what, here's the deal, I've been on this thing for a long time, and I just found this out not too long ago, that we had we were handling somebody else's stuff, you know, buses. And of all my years of being on here, I've never had one person say, thank you, Randolph County, for what you're doing for our buses, and that we get there safely, and all you guys do. And I remember there, you had children as a maintenance guy, you probably never been thinking in your life. So I'm just making sure.
You didn't get a fruit basket?
Yeah, we're on the right page, and you know what, if we're gonna handle your groceries, we need to get paid for them and make sure we get, I don't even mind saying that, quote me, I don't care. I got it, it needs to be fair.
You know, on paper, we're funded for it, but I'll go back to the first comment I made. I don't think the funding formula works too well. But deep I would say you're funded for it. We're funded for it.
Do we show statewide, like, what buses worked on what? Like if it's their bus or our bus? Or is it just all put together? Like if their bus breaks down, does it show that?
They're all Randolph County, they're issued from the state to Randolph County, and then Asheboro gets however many they need, we get them. They all say Randolph County on the side, like I gave you reference earlier. But yes, each bus was tracked. The records on those things are probably more strict than your medical records.
Yeah, where's that go? Where's that
The
go?
money comes from the state, comes to us, or comes to them and they pay us?
Well, a little bit of both. Like I said, they get an allotment, but it's not an allotment like we receive. Their allotment, for the most part, is driver salaries, I believe, is main part of their allotment.
Just out of curiosity, do we have any idea what their fuel bill is running based on that compared to ours?
Wendy would have those numbers. But I wouldn't have them right now. Okay. Moving on.
I was trying to make sure we're okay.
Okay, current expense, so this is Fund 2 and Fund 8 combined. So, second quarter revenue totaled $6.9 million, 26.3% of the budget. Within that 6.9 million, county appropriations, $5.5 million. That's a set amount, so of course that's going to reflect 25%, because that's the set amount for each quarter, basically. And then fines and forfeitures came in at $221,347 for the quarter. That's 22.1%, just under 25. So we're not doing too bad there. From a year-to-date perspective, $13,450,000 is our year-to-date revenue in the two current expense funds, which is just right over 50%. So not too bad. Fines and forfeitures within that number, $458,074, a little under 50% at 45.8. And indirect cost, $142,401. But remember, on the indirect cost, you probably heard me say this in previous years, the majority of our indirect cost payments are from federal programs, and they come in at the end of the year. That's when we take care of that. So that's just reflecting the child nutrition portion right now. That's why it's only like 20% of the budget. On the expense side, second quarter expenses total 11.2. So 42.3% of the budget. Now, don't panic. I know that's way over 25%, but it's always like that. In the second quarter, of course, we pay out our November supplement out of local dollars, so that always bumps that expense up quite a bit. School maintenance, within that amount of 11 million, there was 1.7 million spent on school-wide maintenance, under 25% at 23.4 of that budget. And our energy, we always talk about energy. $786,635 was spent for the quarter, 20.8%. So nicely under 25%. On the year-to-date side of the current expense, $16,451,000 was spent, 62.2% of the budget. Once again, it bumps that percentage up because of the supplement being paid out in November. If you look within that number, $1.5 million, almost 1.6 on energy, which is 42%, below 50%. But don't get too excited yet, because the third quarter's coming and we always run a month behind as far as usage goes. So the third quarter expenses will reflect December, January, February. So you know what December's going to look like. It's going to be pretty high. Hold on a second. Just a note on the year-to-date expense. The expense exceeds the revenues by over $3 million, but once again, it all goes back to that November supplement when we're spending a lot of local cash in that 1 month that falls into the second quarter. Okay. This slide right here, and I put this back in, it's kind of a repeat with some updated numbers, but I wanted to put this back in for the new board members. On the federal budgets, allotments as of the end of the second quarter, December 31st, total $44.9 million. And here lately, I kind of like to break these down between what I call regular federal programs and COVID-related programs. And so regular programs like CTE and Exceptional Children Title I totaled $12.1 million in allotments as of December 31st. COVID-related programs, those budgets total $32.8 million. In the second quarter, we spent about $8.4 million in federal money. Regular programs accounted for 3.1 of that, and COVID-related programs accounted for almost $5.3 million there. I do think in the first quarter update, we had 19 COVID-related programs. We picked up another one at some point, so we now have, I counted 20 COVID-related programs in this year's budget. The largest budget is what we call the ESSER 3 or PRC 181. The budget for this year is $29.6 million. Year to date, we've spent a little over $5 million. But I will say, as I said in at the first quarter update, we have budgeted all those funds for the remaining 2 years. So we've got about 21 more months of that ESSER 3 money. September 30th, 2024 is when that expires. All right, one slide on school nutrition. I'll explain, these percentages look a little off, but I'll explain why that is. Second quarter revenue is almost $2.2 million, 18% of the budget. USDA grants accounted for about $1.7 million in regular sales. Anything outside of the regular plated lunch, a la carte sales accounted for $470,000 in revenue. That brings the year-to-date revenue to $3.794 million. Second quarter expense, we spent almost $2.9 million, and that I just broke it down between salary and benefits, $1.3 million, food, $1.2 million, and then the food processing supplies, $117,000. Year-to-date expense is $4.4 million, but don't be alarmed. If you compare the year-to-date expense of $4.4 million to the revenue of $3.7 million, you would say we're losing money, but at the time I did the PowerPoint, school nutrition had not closed out the books yet for the month of December, so those numbers will look different for the third quarter. So we're not losing money off that. Okay. Charter school enrollment. We always have a slide to bring us up to date on where we stand. Dr. Danny talked a little bit about this in the work session. Last school year ended with 1,309 Randolph County students attending 17 charters and the 2 virtual charters combined. So the current enrollment is 1,385. That might be 1 or 2 students off of Dr. Gaines' number just because of timing on when we did this. We have 19 regular charters and the 2 virtual charters reporting. I would think that that's all we're going to have this year. And so we have a current increase right now of 76 students. And then I broke down, URI charter has 1,086, that's 36 more than last year. Virtual academies actually declined by 2 students compared to last year. So we ended the year last year with 55, now we have 53 currently. The average cost is $1,539 for the regular charters and $790, which is legislated for the virtual. Second quarter expense, $355,872. Once again, that is local dollars. That has nothing to do with the state money we talked about.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
So what about if kids come back? Now, how does that money ever come back to us?
So the billing is on a monthly basis.
Okay.
Years ago, the billing was like twice a year, and I never really liked that. And so the billing's been on a monthly basis for quite a while now. Back in the day, didn't have that many students, so that wasn't that big a deal. There wasn't a lot of back and forth. But yeah, it does fluctuate. In 10 students here, 20 students there, it makes a difference. So basically, we never really get money back, but we always contain it to. It's always contained to a 1 month period. So they have to send us a roster every month of who they have enrolled. And so yeah, we may pay them but actually, now that I think about it, we're building arrears, so it should actually work out pretty well to be consistent and fair. Because yeah, we're not really paying in advance; we're paying in arrears. So.
But used to when they would go, once they went, we paid, and if they came back a month later, we didn't get them. So that's something we'll always watch, because if that ever comes up going back to what it was, we'll need to get legislators involved there, because that was. They go for 1 month and we still lose 4 months worth of money.
Yeah.
So it's better. It's a lot better.
Does that charter count all grade levels?
Yes, URI charter is 1 school. That's their whole K-12.
Yeah, and
unless something's changed, but that's our count. But it's always been 1 K-12 school.
we keep a spreadsheet of all the history, not only within the year, from month to month, but for multiple years. And so I was looking at my spreadsheet and counting back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, guess how many students we had going to charter schools? 51. So we had 51 students going to charter schools 10 years ago, and there were only 7 charter schools reporting, having enrollment. So, it's been, quite good growth, for charter schools, over a 10-year period.
But I've always just thought about this. You know, my thing is the kids going to charter. Why doesn't the state just send the money to the charter school? How many hours a month does your employees spend tracking this stuff? I mean, that's really taking money from us just to track their money. And it's not fair to y'all, it's not fair to the school system.
Well, and the state does send the money to the charter schools. They reduce our budgets and the money. It's probably more the local piece that takes the time to, where we're actually manually writing a check each month.
So the state sends it to them, and y'all pretty much tracking the local
Right,
government.
Yeah. The state sends it to them, but that's why the state reduced our 15 state programs, because then that's the money they're using to send the.
But to your point, that tracking is important, because we've had rosters of students where they've not been accurate.
Yeah, we send the rosters to transportation, and that transportation staff make sure all addresses.
And, you know, it's my thing, I know we got a few, Steele's family that don't live here, but, you know, it's like Dr. Gainey was talking earlier, people just don't realize the impact it has where, like you say, you just can't take one teacher away, because you have 24 kids leave, that's the teacher's position, but you can't take that teacher away because they don't come from one classroom. And it costs us money.
Okay, cash balances, average cash balances at the end of December. Current expense, that number dropped off quite a bit, but once again, because of the outflow of cash for the local supplement, $3.5 million. Capital outlay, $1.8 million, AT tax, $1.8 million. And I want to say September is a big tax collection month. I think that's when, for the AT tax district, so that's why that number's up there pretty good. Child nutrition, $4.3 million, and once again, it does fluctuate throughout the year. Just a couple areas to watch. Once again, that transportation expense in the third quarter, and then hopefully we'll get our final allotment here soon, and that'll kind of give us a better picture of where we're going to end up by the end of the year. And then, of course, our third quarter energy, we know that's going to be higher, but hopefully we'll maybe January, February be a little bit warmer than we think, and not offset what that really cold period back in December. Any questions on the update?
I have on the thing with the buses, which I just found out too, kind of a year or so ago. We don't take care of anything else for any other schools, do we?
For Ashford City?
No.
No, nothing other than buses.
I don't know anything.
If we do any work on any of their activity buses, then we bill them for that. I think that happens from time to time, but they have to pay for that.
Building maintenance or anything like that,
Just didn't want to make sure it was.
Well, the thing that,
everything in the county.
you know, the thing that holds true is, still holds true now is, I'm just thinking out loud, 36. We're getting technology, our state funding is reduced, so Kathy and I were talking about this in the hall, $228,000 less right now we get from the state than we received in 09-10. That doesn't make any sense to me with what's happening in technology. It doesn't make any sense. Every year, this is 10 years, we've talked about transportation, the formula's broken. So I just say, if legislators are talking to you, we need these things looked at. And EC funding, if you look back, our EC funding has increased by $2 million in the last 10 years. And the needs of students has well surpassed that. Because, so it just, the funding formula for EC services is broken. You know, anything over, 13% of your population, EC, we have to pick that up. And that funding formula, that's a ceiling. And it's not about, we need to be in a position to make sure we have everything we need for children. And so there's 3 areas, and we've talked about this: technology, transportation, EC. Those 3 have not gone away in 10 years. And it wasn't, They weren't new to me when I came here. They were in the previous school system. Those were 3 areas. So if you're in conversations, we've got to keep pushing that, because the transportation thing, Mr. Burgess, to your point, we've got a good amount of money in our local budget, but it'd be nice if we could do something else with that local money other than exhaust it every year on transportation, plus some. You know, and every year it comes down till we get to June, and it seems like the conversation Todd's having and the updates he's giving me as he's trying to find out the budget is, where's the EC budget gonna land and where's the transportation budget gonna land? And that's always our pressure points. It always is. You know, the technology, Kathy's group has done a great job with our using some of our extra money to capitalize on that. Kathy, last I looked, we're pretty far out on the sustainability of those 16,000 Chromebooks we now have. Almost 16,500. 16,475 Chromebooks, I think, is what I saw. We've really pushed the envelope there, but you've also got a window of time on their life, and we've got to keep, you know, you can't, Sheena knows this, Sheena lives this. We have to keep watching what happens after a device becomes 3 years old. Where do we go from there? And so we just got to, these 3 areas, it would be nice if one of them could be addressed differently and maybe give some relief. So I just say there's 3 areas right there that if we're talking about needs with state leaders, those 3 are still there.
So SR money goes away, right? After?
ESSER 2 money goes away this coming September. ESSER 3 money goes away in 24.
There's no money left anyway. I mean, but there's no money left in that anyway.
No, we've got it all.
We budgeted it all.
So, you know, if you think about ESSER money, the amount we had in Randolph County, I'm not sure exactly what, but you think of all the counties, all this ESSER money that went, heck, I guess the kids will be paying for it's not born yet, are they?
It was 48, ESSER 1.
My God.
ESSER 1 was 3 million, 14 million was 2, and this was 31 million, so you're looking at whatever that is, 14, it's 48 million.
Yeah, plus several million other, several million more in
The
some
original
smaller programs.
COVID relief money that came out of the state was not part of ESSER, was it? That was I remember the first time we got that, I thought, well, okay, now we at least have some money to pay for all the safety devices, safety equipment we had to buy initially, but.
The only 2 is interesting, no, it's not interesting, it makes sense. It's only 2 years, when it comes to EC, state EC funding and state transportation funding, the only 2 years that we had a cushion were the COVID years because of going either the shutdown in the spring and then the year after that with the reduced schedule. That's where we were sitting there with, you know.
I'm surprised they didn't try to take that transportation money back.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about that.
We did, because some school systems didn't go school. They didn't use it at all that next year.
Because we were using ours a lot more than most. We were going to school.
But those are only 2 years that I can remember. Maybe one other year to where transportation, we were okay, but, yeah, those are always, we're trying to save here, save, look at, and be as high as we can in these programs and this and that, and save as much as we can. And, hopefully revenues come in, more than, and revenues typically will come in. I usually budget those conservatively, so they usually do come in a little bit more than normal. But then at the end of the year, all that extra usually will find its way to transportation to balance the budget, sometimes EC.
So if we have, with the EC budget, so if we have a lot of vacancies in EC like we do, how does that affect that? Those numbers?
It lowers the expense. You still are having to pay us up most of the time.
But you're not paying the full salary benefits.
It does lower the expense, but then it goes to show that if we were fully staffed in EC, how far over budget we might be. Yeah,
so when we're under budget or over budget, over budget with a smaller staff. So
it shows how far we'd be over.
Yeah.
Exactly. One thing that, helps out with the EC, we have, the 2 main programs with the state 032, and then federal 60. And so federal 60 supplements 032. And we always try to carry over as much money in federal 60 as we can, because it carries over from year to year. And that, you know, by the end of the year, when we start zeroing out that state money, then we start switching things over to federal if we need to, that sort of thing. We try to, there's been years where we carried over a lot of money, and there's been years we haven't carried over any. So we were able to carry over some the last few years, mainly because of COVID. Yeah, when I looked at the EC budget back before the break, looked like we're probably going to be okay this year in the EC budget, but transportation right now is my biggest concern by far. I want to mention one more thing to you, unrelated to this budget update, but just next month, at the February meeting, our new auditors who audited the 21-22 school year for us, and Smith and White. So Shannon Dennison will present the audit for information. I want to let you know about two things that she'll tell you about. Didn't happen in the 21-22 year, but it didn't have anything to do with the financials or funding or cash or anything like that. It's just two things that she had to, that she has to report. One is an insurance liability account that, for going back to even before I got here, was carrying forward about an incorrect balance. And nothing against the previous auditor. Steve did a great job, and he's a great auditor. He would always put a note in the financials on his side as to why it was like that. And I think that was the reasoning back prior to when I was here. But at some point, I think it changed, and I think he just kept keeping that note in there and didn't really think too much about it. But Shannon found it and said, this doesn't look right, so we investigated it best we could. So she's going to make a prior period adjustment to that. Doesn't have anything to do, once again, with cash or anything like that. It's just an entry. So she has to report it because it's a prior year entry. And then the second thing was federal data submission. Once the audit is done, you're supposed to submit the federal data report 30 days after the audit is done, or March 31st, whichever is sooner. Steve always did it March 31st, no matter when that's settled. So and I didn't know any different either. So I mean, it's, you know, I'm not saying Steve's fault. I didn't know any different either. So she picked up on that. Said I got to report that because, you know, you haven't, last year you didn't report it when you're supposed to. No penalty or anything like that. Doesn't affect any dollars. So just want to give you a heads up because she will legally, she has to tell you all about those two things. But I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. So, you know, but she'll do a good job explaining it if she needs to. But I just wanted to, I'll let you know. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Tom.
Good evening, board members. Tonight I bring to you the student assignment report for the second quarter. I'm just going to talk left to right to remind you of those columns, capacity of the school. That enrollment, the asterisk there indicates that that's the enrollment number as of December the 20th, 2022. And I just want to remind you that means if we had 100% participation, that would be the number of students that would be at school that day. So that's our official enrollment as of December the 20th, 22. So the capacity column there is just, you know, the percentage of those. As a reminder for the procedures that are in place, any school that is 95% capacity or higher, any new reassignments or admissions to that school would automatically be denied by our procedures. So currently that school would be Ransom High School. If we were to end the school year now, they would not be honored any new reassignments. If the student's already there and has been approved for reassignment this school year, they would continue to be approved. It would be completely new reassignments. And then you have one in red there, the virtual academy, but remember that's an application process, so there really is no capacity there per se. And then the ones in yellow are just there just to remind us they're on the watch list. We're getting close to that 95%. The next column represents the number of mobile units on each site. Just want to remind you that those listed beside Trinity Middle School are actually on the site of Braxton Craven. And then again, as you continue going across to the right, the first two columns are reassignments. The plus represent the students that are attending that school that are not domiciled to attend that school. The reassignment with the negative are those that are attending another school in our school system that could be attending, they would be assigned to Austell Elementary, for example, if I use the first one. And then the last two columns are the number of students that their address assigns them to our particular school and they've been released to another LEA. And again, as a reminder, that does not reflect any students released to charter schools because they don't have the zone boundary, so they do not have to have a release from us to attend a charter school. And then the last one are the number of students that are attending those schools by admissions. They are assigned to another LEA and they are attending our schools. So the last column represents the net gain or loss for each individual school, and then the last row across the bottom represents the school system as a whole. So this reflects the any changes from our last report, which was October the 7th through December the 20th, and I'd just like to remind you that we are outside of the window of any new requests, so any changes that you may see reflected there are in relation to the board policy 4150 that states that if a student moves within the school year, we allow them to remain in that school year for consistency for that student, or at that school for that school year, for the consistency of that student. Any questions in
You
regards to
said the
student
negative
services?
reassignment.
Mhm.
Did you say that could be?
What that
Charter
means is
school.
that, what that means, no. Reassignment is completely a Randolph County school system assigned home address. We've assigned them to a school. The negative would represent they're not going to their assigned Randolph County school system school. The positive means that that's the school that they're attending to that's outside of their assigned school. So those numbers, if you look across the bottom, the math sheet, that's just, we have 1,074 students attending our schools that are staying in our schools, but are not attending the school that they're actually domiciled to attend. That are moving around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I'm just looking at Farmer and we've had 37 kids leave that school this year.
Yes, but those 37 students are attending a school in the Randolph County
Yeah.
school system. The 9 beside Farmer would mean they are attending another LEA. Again, there's no representation in this report of where any of the students assigned to charter schools, any of our charter schools.
I know the charter school hurt them out there, but you're sitting there looking at a school with 43% capacity.
And then the gray areas that you see for Randolph Early College and again for Virtual Academy are just representation that those are application schools. They don't have an attendance zone, so we don't report numbers for those. Any other questions in regards to the student assignment report?
2 feet.
There's a lot of kids that go to another school around here.
So, 80 mobile units, how many are we paying rent on?
We were paying the rent on 13, we own 67.
No, it's 69 and 11 now, we got it cleaned up.
Oh, it is.
You
So
bought-
my notes, I went back and
Dr.
looked, my
Gates
notes all
bought
say
one.
67.
I know, I've had 67,
Okay.
now, somebody corrected my official
So
table,
I will correct
69
my
and
official
11.
sheet. So it's
All I know
69
those two
and
we
11.
own, I don't know Larry, did you have them hid somewhere or what?
Those
You're
are-
right, the breakdown was 67-13.
So those 11 to 13 that we're renting, are we paying the 5,000 or the 14,000?
Probably the 14, unless we've got them under contract that keeps us from going to 5. But remember that 5100 was back in 17-18, so it's definitely not that low again. That 14,000, a lot.
That number's low.
And 21 of them sitting at Randolph High School, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, we can't do anything, we need more land to build anything permanent there. We'll have to buy land that's impervious soil rule. That's, anything we do to Randolph High School to expand, it's gonna have to have some land bought.
You know,
They got the football field there.
yeah.
I'll let you go to the press conference on that one, okay? I'll be with you, Mr. Singh, I'll stand right behind you, okay?
Oh, you might get shot.
That'll still be dangerous.
No, I'll start with Mr. Singh's bringing the recommendation on it.
Okay, thank you.
You know, Lord, you should just let it lie, but I'm gonna tell you what here's the deal, a little bit, I won't go too deep into it. When Providence Grove was built, I was pretty new, I was sitting there and I was doing my math, okay? And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, you're not gonna like this shit, I was thinking, gosh, there should be, Randall's really undercover, there should be more Randall kids going to Providence Grove, you know? And there should have been. But, you know, you had strong, they've been there longer than I had. You had one from Eastern that had been there for a long time, and you had one from Randall, and I was a new guy. And then I got watching those two lock horns, you know. Well, you're not taking this neighbor, we're not gonna do this, and before you know it, Eastern and it could've worked out better for both, you know, if, it's a long thing, but Randleman will always have probably more than it really needs and more mobile units just because you should have had a few more than that at Providence Grove at the time. And he could have worked it out better even with Eastern, but there's certain parts they didn't want to give up, so. I mean, they were legends, you know, I was a rookie, and I didn't wanna, I would never won another election in my life, and they would have hated me, and I thought at the time, well, they know more about that than I do. I was thinking, but I was right, looking back 15 years, I mean.
You gotta look at that, I mean, the same thing goes with, South Martin Farmer, when they built South Martin, opened it up, it had more kids than Farmer did. When they opened it up, and now you're looking at South Martin, sitting there 80% capacity. It wouldn't look that right.
But I am thinking, sitting here, when I look at exactly 66% at Trinity Middle, and 66 at Wheatmore Middle, and how close Trinity and Wheatmore is, that group that argued about those schools done a pretty good job, didn't they?
And the thing is, that 66%, get them houses built, and people moved in.
Oh, it's gonna be 80-90% before you know it, but you know, but that's good, that, I hear that every day now, that last year you had some kinks in Trinity Middle School, you know, some discipline problems, and I think you had honestly, you had teachers that had taught sixth grade for a long time, and they were teaching real middle school, and that was kind of tough on them, but it all kind of worked out, and it's come together now, and you don't hear it, you hear, oh, how great it is to have their own middle school, and it shows, don't it? Makes a difference.
So does, with Randleman Elementary, where we have a lot of negative reassigns, then to the level cross where we have a lot of positive reassigns, is that where a lot of them are going to?
From Ransom Elementary, we do have a lot of movement
To level cross. So when they're following the level cross, but then when they go to high school, they're going, or middle school, they're going to Randleman Middle.
Does level cross feed both, I mean, percentage wise, Randleman and Providence? I don't know what the percentage is, but.
I think it fluctuates.
Yeah, but it sends kids to both
It does send kids.
Nerms and Randall Middle.
That's what I was thinking. And SERMS, does it just feed Eastern by itself, is that it?
Yes, there's a little node in Liberty that comes all the way to CERMS, but
Yeah,
their
there's-
sign.
it's like a little sliver.
Staley.
Yeah, the little state.
Everything south of 421.
There's a little bit that attend Northeastern Randolph.
Yeah.
That's assigned to Eastern. That's a little teeny sliver. Just like we have a sliver of students that attend Ransom Elementary that then for middle school are assigned Northeast. We've got just a few slivers here and there.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? We move on to.
It'll work out next year when Dr. Gaines is building gyms and all that.
Oh, yeah, we'll have that lounge built.
All high schools.
Yes.
I've already got that planned out.
You got like,
I've already
you
got-
might be last since you got Braxton, you kind of,
No, I've already
you can
got,
use that one.
I've already got the stakes in the ground, Courtney.
On the football field.
Yeah.
Ain't Florida happens to the state probably right now.
Yeah. Okay, we need a motion to approve the consent items.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Sharon.
The Randolph County Board of Education will enter into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute and to preserve the attorney-client privilege to discuss confidential personnel matters protected by North Carolina General Statute.
All right, we have a motion to go into closed session. Do we have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're now in closed session. to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say